Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever, guys. While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Facebook group and Twitter account and join the discussion. Well, hello everyone. It is that time of the year again. It is time for San Diego Comic-Con. But wait, we're not having it this year. That's right. The event, unfortunately, was canceled due to, of course, all this COVID stuff. A lot of events were canceled, of course, this time of year. So what Comic-Con decided to do was go virtual, and today was day one of virtual Comic-Con, or Comic-Con at home is what they call it. And basically what they're doing is it's pre-recorded panels from what it looks like, and each time of the day, today is what I've experienced, is you can go online and view the panel in whole. It's already pre-recorded, so you can fast forward and do all that stuff with it too, and you get your little nuggets, you get your interviews with the cast and creators and stuff like that. It's a different way of doing Comic-Con, obviously, than what we're used to. A lot of what is different than what we experience, really, when it comes to Comic-Con. And I have been sitting here today, and I've seen several panels or several videos that I want to talk about. But first, really, I think we need to talk about kind of what this is all about and what kind of the experience of how it's changed with Comic-Con and what the day and age is like doing it. Because from what I'm understanding, of course, you know, the Comic-Con organization, they're still selling merchandise. There's still, you know, exclusives that companies like Marvel and, I don't know, Diamond and McFarlane Toys, they're still doing all the exclusive stuff, only it's all doing online. You don't go, obviously, to the convention floor to buy it, which could be, you know, something that people are disappointed with. And I know it's not the best scenario, guys. I mean, Star Wars Celebration, which I love going to, is canceled. And my heart says, damn it, even though my wallet says, woohoo! And my favorite part of going to Star Wars Celebration every year is interacting with all the Star Wars fans, talking Star Wars. I mean, my favorite part is waiting in line to go to panels and book signings and all this stuff, just so I can talk with other people that are as passionate about Star Wars as I am. And while Comic-Con, I think, is a little different because it's all, you know, not just comic books, but it's also, you know, manga and video games and all these other things, where I think it differs a little bit from what Star Wars Celebration is. It's still something where you get to interact with your fellow geeks on a personal level and not over a Twitter account. So yes, we are missing that interaction. And again, from the panels that I have watched today, one thing I feel like has been missing is those fan Q&As where you go to a panel and then afterwards you have a couple minutes or whatever to where you can walk up to a microphone, ask a question that's not already, you know, been pre-selected and that probably the actor or the creator know is coming, but a fan just ask a question, kind of get a funny answer or maybe a real good answer, or maybe they just dodge the question altogether. So to me, that's kind of what this whole Comic-Con at-home experience is missing. I feel like maybe they should have done some fan questions that the moderator could throw in there just to give it that little experience. But besides that, it's pretty good, I think, actually, considering the fact that, number one, it's free, okay? I mean, you don't have to go to a queue and buy your tickets within the first minute they go on sale, okay? You don't have to spend the money. You don't have to spend the time. And they're all pre-recorded, so you can, again, if you want to fast forward through it, you can. If you want to pause and come back to it, you can. It's a really nice setup, I think, in the eyes of a fan. You're still getting exclusive clips and information from the creators and actors and all these other people. Like I said, you're just missing out on the live experience, which I know is part of the fun as well. But considering the circumstances, I like this, actually. I like it quite a bit. Now, I've never been to actual San Diego Comic-Con before, but I've been to plenty of comic book conventions in Chicago, Austin, like I said, Star Wars Celebration. This, I think, works a lot for any fan. And I bet they have a lot more people watching this right now than they would, not just attending Comic-Con, but would normally view stuff like this on YouTube. I mean, it's only day one. It might go a little shaky from there, but, I've seen several panels today. I went online to the Comic-Con website and this morning, and I clicked kind of the panels that I wanted to check out. And once I've signed in, it gave me my schedule. And it's really interesting because that's what I do. Like, when I go to the conventions or I go to Star Wars Celebration, excuse me, beforehand I'll get a schedule and I'll highlight the panels I want to go to so I can make my schedule about where I need to be at what panel at what time. And it does this virtually. And what it's done is also it's, got my list there. I want to go back. I didn't get to watch the Marvel HQ panel. So I'll go back, probably not today, but later on tomorrow, and maybe go and watch that. Tomorrow I got to work all day, so there are several panels like the Lucasfilm Publishing that I want to check out. I can, come home from work and check that out later. And that's kind of a real nice thing, actually, is, it's all laid out there for you on the Comic-Con website. Click on kind of the panels you want to see, and it's saved in like your own little personal queue. You click on it, you go and you watch the video, you can watch the panel, and it's quite convenient, I think. At least I'm loving it. Yes, we're missing out on the interaction between other fans and seeing the merchandise in person and finding those, surprise little buys or even free giveaways that I like to pick up at comic conventions. I mean, I'm the guy. I bring a backpack with me to conventions, at comic conventions and Star Wars Celebration, because I'm looking for the free stuff. I'm looking for what Marvel's going to give me. I'm looking for what DC's going to hand out, what poster or whatever that I can get and stuff in my backpack. Missing out on that, but as far as information, this is pretty damn good. Now, I clicked on, or I saved a couple of panels for today. I think I had like 7 or 8 of them that I might want to check out, and I only got to like 3 or 4 of them, but they're the main ones that I really wanted to look at for today. So I'm just going to run through them real quick, kind of share some of the information that I picked up from the panels, and kind of how I feel about new information that we've learned. So the first panel that I watched today was the Star Trek Universe virtual panel, and that is Alex Kurtzman. Is that his name? One of the guys who's in charge of kind of the Star Wars universe right now, or Star Trek universe, Star Trek universe, and talking about kind of what they got going on. First, they started off with a reading from the Star Trek Discovery crew, followed by a Q&A. And then from there, you got a topic or panel or discussion with the cast or voice cast from the animated upcoming Lower Decks, followed by a panel or a Q&A with the cast from Star Trek Picard. Now, to be honest, I only looked at the Lower Decks ones. I only watched the Lower Decks ones. I didn't, wasn't really big on Discovery. Discovery is one of those shows that I checked it out, and I respect what it is, but it's not the show that I would want to watch every week, or I'm throbbing or juicy to let me watch it. It's not that kind of show. So I kind of skipped it. I know they talked a little bit about the upcoming spin-off show they have, starring the Captain Pike character. Rebecca Romijn's going to be in it as well. But like I said, it wasn't for me. And in the Picard one, I watched season 1 of Picard. I honestly don't know if I'm going to watch season 2 or not. The way it ended, I'm not a big fan of the choices they made. But, if I see a trailer, it might change. So the main one that I watched from the Star Trek one was the Lower Decks, which is very interesting. They talked about how they're having another animated series coming out called Prodigy, that's going to be for more kids. This one is not for kids. If anything, this is more of like, the adult satire Star Trek cartoon. And the main voice, or one of the main voices that I heard when I first saw the clip, I thought it was Seth Meyer, because it sounded an awful lot like the guy who did the main character for The Awesomes on Hulu, which is another show that I liked, and that was Seth Meyer. But turns out it was Jack Quaid. Is that his name? Yeah, it's Dennis Quaid's son, who's also on The Boys. It sounded an awful lot like him, and it was just very interesting. But based on the information we got, and from this clip, I was, I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I like the current movies, of course. Next Generation, probably my favorite Star Trek series. The other ones I don't really care too much about. But as I've gotten older, I've definitely grown to appreciate Star Trek more. I guess. And, the world is fun to play in and look at, especially from a social context about, how the Star Trek universe, what Gene Roddenberry is trying to put together was almost a perfect utopia of what the future could be if we kind of all put aside our differences and actually got along to achieve the best for mankind. But Lower Decks isn't really like that. It's very much, the people at the bottom, not the captain, not the first officer, not those guys. The ones that are doing all the grunt work really is what it is. And the clip, it's set in this Next Generation timeline, from what I understand. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like they're kind of not really poking fun at it, but really just having fun with it, and it's enjoyable. It's something for a guy like me, who doesn't take his Star Trek a little too seriously, like some people that I know. It could be something that I get a lot of laugh of, because I do know some Star Trek, but I don't know a lot about it. So even for me, there's going to be jokes I don't get, but then again, there's going to be jokes that I get that other people won't get. But like I said, it just looked like they were having a lot of fun playing around in the Star Trek universe. So I think it's something I'm going to try to check out. The next panel I watched was the New Mutants panel. And I know this was a very highly anticipated panel, mainly because of all the drama surrounding the New Mutants. Of course, it was the last X-Men film under the 20th Century Fox banner before they were bought by Disney. The film has been delayed, pushed back several times. I mean, I think it's about 2 years, more than 2 years, since the film was actually originally supposed to be released. The release date now is TBD, and we were hoping actually at this point to get another release date, but they said they're sticking with their August 28th. But I say TBD because I don't believe it's hitting August 28th. Everything's getting pushed back. They just said that Disney just said they took off Mulan indefinitely. They're pushing back Star Wars and Avatar films a year. So I have no doubt that the New Mutants, I'm sorry, is not going to hit this August 28th date, which is a damn shame, because the more I watch this film, the more I want to see it. There was a fake trailer that came out a couple days ago saying that it was actually going to come out on September 4th on Disney Plus. And honestly, a part of me wishes that was true, even though I'd love to see it up on the big screen, of course, and of course get some money out of this film, especially, like I said, because this is the last X-Men film under the 20th Century Fox banner. But I just want to see this movie, but it looks so cool. Throughout the panel with the creator, or the director, Josh Boone, and the cast, they were showing clips from the movie, stuff we hadn't seen in trailers. And at the end, we got a new trailer where we kind of got a few more plot details about what's going on with the kids and why they're in this place. And basically, it was the fact that, these mutants who, are dangerous, of course, all had allegedly killed someone. I say allegedly because I don't believe that. I think it's a misdirect, actually. But that they had killed someone, and that's why they were there, to keep themselves safe from other people. But that trailer was super cool. Of course, we got more with Ileana and the Soul Sword. We got some transformations with Wolfbane in there. We saw Cannonball, fire up and go around. And those are the three main characters that I know. I'm not a big New Mutants guy, to be honest. I haven't read the original source material, the Demon Bear saga, which, this is mainly based off of. I haven't read it. I know Magic, Wolfbane, and Cannonball because they're part of other teams. I know a little bit of Sunspot. Moonstar is the other name. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with that character because I don't think she's been in a lot of mainstream X-Men books besides New Mutants, at least to my knowledge, of course. You can yell at me in the comments and tell me how I'm a poser and an idiot. Go ahead. I get it all the time. But the characters I'm familiar with, I'm excited to see. And again, this did look like it was going to be a different kind of superhero or comic book film, and 20th Century Fox was really good about that, with taking Logan and make it kind of that Western style, Deadpool being kind of a satire comedy, and then this had more of a horror slant to it. And the whole panel of the cast was joking themselves, even the director, Josh Boone, about when exactly this film was going to come out, because it's been postponed so many times. But what we got, like I said, a new trailer with some really good stuff, and again, just makes me want to see this film. Maybe a little bittersweet because it is, like I said, the last 20th Century Fox X-Men film. But I have no doubt from the hype, I think it'll be something special, to say the least. Special good, special bad. It all depends on your point of view, folks. All right, and the last panel that really I watched today was the Boys Season 2 panel, where they got with the show creator and the cast and got together and talked a little bit about their characters and what's going on in Season 2. We got a clip from Season 2, which I posted on the social media groups, and, you expect some bloody and disturbing stuff from the boys after what we saw in Season 1, but that clip with the whale, even I, expecting something pretty bloody, made me go ooh. Even I had to question it. It was a fun clip, and I can't wait for Season 2, honestly. But with that, of course, like I said, the panel, they were talking about Season 2, kind of what each character is going through and what they'll have to go through in Season 2 and where they've been. And that premieres September 4th on Amazon, and I'm really excited for that. I really kind of want to go back and rewatch Season 1 before I watch Season 2, because it is an interesting thing where, the show creator even himself talked about how you're talking about things that are a metaphor for what's in the real world, and I totally got that, where in Season 1 with, the Seven and the way they perceive themselves, the way people perceive them, they were really kind of doing a metaphor about being a celebrity and kind of, what that has happened in the world too. And I got that. And when they even talked about it on the panel, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I picked up from Season 1. And in this one, I guess Season 2, they're talking about, white nationalism and white supremacy and kind of along that. So that I think will be interesting. And really, come on now. That's what me as an adult, that's what I get from these, superhero comic books. A lot of people always rag on comic books and superheroes saying it's for kids. And I'm like, you're not going to the deeper meaning of the characters. X-Men is about, injustice and discrimination. And like I said, Superman's about, being an immigrant and feeling alone. Batman is about grief and trauma and how to deal with it. Maybe not in such healthy ways, but getting through it. Every superhero, or at least the real good ones, have this underlying metaphor of something that is, going on in the real world. And, people who say, oh, it's just the colorful costumes and the superpowers, I don't get why they don't get it, but I love that the boys do get it. And I haven't read a lot of the comic book. I read a little bit of the first couple issues. I think I read the first one or two graphic novels, actually, of the boys, and then I didn't get any farther than that. But I'm loving the show. I can't wait for Season 2. My buddy JR loves it too, and he, anytime there's anything about the boys, I tag him in it, and I tagged him in the whale thing, and I think I got him a little more excited. So can't wait for Boys Season 2 to come out. So that was kind of my experience, day one of this Comic-Con at home. And honestly, as a guy who has been home today, I've really enjoyed it. Now, there's stuff, like I said, that happened today. I want to go back, maybe at least skim through a little bit. The Marvel 616 panel, I want to do that. I did watch the Amazon show Upload. They did a panel as well. I did watch that because my wife watches that, so we watched that one together. Tomorrow, like I said, the Lucasfilm Publishing, Marvel Comics, next big thing. There are several things on there. Bob's Burgers, Archer, that's tomorrow. Saturday, let's see here. Jim Lee's X-Men Artist Edition Spotlight. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, The Future Is Now. Let's see here. Of course, Bill and Ted Face the Music on Saturday. Let's see. Sunday, the first TMNT film 30th anniversary. Kevin Eastman panel. And it's Morphin Time Power Rangers Meetup. Oh, and a conversation with Nick Fillion. So that's kind of things that I have marked on my queue list or on my Comic-Con panel that I'll at least maybe try to check out as the weekend goes on. I got to work, but you know what? There's a couple hours in the day where I can at least skim through the video. And again, that's what I like is like the videos are online. They're crystal clear. It's not somebody on their camera phone shooting it. It's professionally done by Comic-Con where everything looks so good. And it's honestly, I love the way it's done. Now, I know they're probably missing out on a bunch of money through vendors and, publicity and all that stuff. But, I'm watching these videos and there's ads in front of them, of course. So, this could easily be a new way of doing things with Comic-Con. If you can't make it to Comic-Con for the full experience, if anything, pay a little less, maybe pay half the ticket price and do this again next year while everyone else goes there for the full experience. I don't know, man. I just think it's something pretty cool. And, as far as the merchandise, yeah, it's cool to see all that stuff. But honestly, I'll see something cool at Comic-Con, and if I don't like the price, I'll go and, put it on my Amazon wish list and, wait till I have the money for it, or wait for it's a price I'm willing to pay, and then I buy it, and most of the time it does come from the vendors too. But yes, I'm enjoying how they're doing this given the circumstances. But you let me know what you think. If you guys have watched any of the Comic-Con videos today, fire back. Let me know what you think about them. Do you like the way they're doing this? Do you think it's more convenient? Obviously, for people who have been to Comic-Con and the full experience of being in the euphoria of it all, it's not perfect, but I think this works really well given the circumstances, and I'll be checking it out this weekend. What are you guys doing? Okay, fire back, of course. Like I said, let me know. Let me know what panels you marked too. Is there anything cool that you're looking to check out? What do you think of the boys panel, the New Mutant panel? Let me know, guys. Okay, fire back. Dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com, Facebook group, Twitter account. Let me know. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. I might be back next week if there's anything really cool that comes out on Comic-Con. I think those two, the boys and the mutants, I think are really the big ones as I look through my schedule. But who knows? Something might pop up, and if it is, I'll talk about it next week. Or, of course, social media groups. That's what it's there for, guys. So until then, may the force be with us all.